We are on the sidelines of the Mining Indaba 2023 conference in Cape Town, and we're speaking to some of the executives at Transnet as a business. We're speaking about the importance of the business, what it does on a daily basis, and how it is going to move from today into the future. And today we've got Theo Johnson, who is the managing executive of the Ore Corridor. How are you today, Uput?
Hey, Zimas, I'm good, man. And how are you doing?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I've had a very great conference. I believe that Transnet as well has really reshaped how it works with various miners. Great announcements coming out of the mining conference, and we're really excited about that. But today we want to speak about the ore corridor.
Yes.
And yourself as an executive, I think sometimes people hear titles and there's no sort of grounding in what the title actually means. So yourself as Mr. Theo Johnson, you wake up every day, you're a managing executive of the ore corridor. What are the three things that you worry about most when you walk into the office?
No, thanks, man. And let me greet all the viewers out there. Okay, the life of a managing executive takes a lot of turns depending on what the situation is on the ground. So as operators on a daily basis, what concerns me is when I wake up in the morning, how was the business performance? In line with commitments that were made by the teams. And, that for me is quite critical. Also, alignment with stakeholders, find out how they are doing, what difference can we add into their day going forward. And also, most importantly, engagements with employees, engagements with the teams out there, encouraging them to look forward to a brighter day, because days are different.
Yes.
You get days in operations where things are good. You get days in operations where things are just bad. So when the days are bad, yours as a leader is to encourage the team and give them hope that in adversity, there is still a better outcome that we can all expect. And ours is to make sure that the team's hearts are there to go and achieve that desired outcome in spite of adversity that we face from time to time.
I appreciate that so much, because I think at times we don't want to, or we find it difficult to humanize the people behind the actual business. And you are the engine, right, that runs the other engines, and you are just as important, if not even more important, as human capital. But looking at human capital, we've got to look at now at the strategy. The strategy, the plans that you have set from now moving forward, and how you wish to optimize or hope to optimize the ore corridor. What are some of those plans, and what are the horizons for those plans, and what are you looking in terms of the key markers for success around those plans?
No, thanks. I think that's a very important question. For the ore corridor, our strategy is encompassed on the bigger Transnet strategy. So, the 5 key pillars that as Transnet we are, focusing on. I think key for us is people.
Yes.
To ensure that we've got a culture of performance within the corridor. We need to drive our culture that talks to the fact that what type of an employee in the ore corridor do we want to see? So we're driving that strategy in terms of people management. Now, for people management, it is very, very critical that you fix other things, facilities, make sure that the facilities are in a good condition, so that you can improve an employee's experience in the workplace. So that for us is very critical. The second important pillar for us is asset utilization. How can we do more with less? And how well are we utilizing the assets that we currently have?
Yes.
So, focuses on cycle time performance for us is very critical to ensure that we turn around the trains within the prescribed time frames so that we achieve our targets. And also, lastly, on our side, is the issue around safety.
Yes.
We've seen this financial year as one where we had to go and revisit our safety plans
Yes.
because we've had some couple of big safety incidents on the ore line, which required us to go back to the drawing board and refocus our safety strategy. And I think we've come a long way now in getting and embedding a safety mindset into all teams on the ground.
Yeah.
So for us, in the 5 pillars, these 3 pillars for us are critical to see ourselves, progressing to the next level on the ore line and meeting our targets.
I think where you are taking us is very important. There are issues outside of the business, external issues that affect how the business can optimize, be efficient, and carry out the business of the day. What are some of the issues that are external to the business that affect the corridor and its performance almost on a daily basis? And how are you fixing those, finding ways to mitigate some of these issues and the impact on the business, and also engaging stakeholders to make the corridor much more efficient and ultimately extend its longevity?
Yeah. So there's a couple of issues that have cropped up on the ore corridor. One of them is locust infestations. And it caught us off guard at the beginning of this year. We had to quickly collaborate with various stakeholders, Department of Agriculture, our customers, so that we can devise a plan on how to deal with the locust infestations that got onto the line. They are still there even now, but at least with this year we have managed to collaborate and deal effectively, proactively with managing the outbreak that visits us at this time of the year. The other issues, of course, are issues related to communities,
Yes.
where we are working with various stakeholders within the communities so that we not only improve our position as Transnet, but also working together with communities and others, community leaders and stakeholders, so that we improve the situation with regards to our communities. If you picture the ore line, it's running in an almost semi-desert environment. We do not have a lot of communities around the ore line. So it is quite critical that those that are there, we work together with them and add value to their lives. It's quite important for us to do that. So we work with a lot of stakeholders, departments in government, local municipalities, and also, of course, our customers, to try and look at various ways of how we can improve the standard of the line.
Now, what I gather is that these issues are some of the things that stand in the way of exponential success, but also there are challenges that you as a business are aware of. But I want to move to the successes. I want to understand what do key successes look like for the ore corridor, and what is the roadmap and those key indicators that we look for, that when we hit this, we know that this is one of our key pillars relative to the success. What do those key successes look like, and what is the business doing to try and achieve these within the milestones that they've set?
Yes, I think for us, because we are in production, one of the key outputs for the ore corridor is to move 60 million tons of iron ore, and also 5.1 million tons of manganese on the ore line. That is a key output for us, because the achievement of that output satisfies a lot of other deliverables that we need to achieve on the line. So critical for us is to achieve our targets. When we simplify it for our employees and our teams on the ground, it's the execution of 35 trains of iron ore every week and the execution of 15 manganese trains every week that must run on the ore line. Not forgetting that we've got GFB that we run for our customers, very important commodities, strategic for the line. So we need to achieve those targets. Now, the big question is, what are the inputs that we need to achieve these targets?
Yes.
The key one for us is an available network. So we need to ensure that the line has got sufficient slots
Yes.
in order to run the trains. I'll give you an example of an airline.
Yes.
If you've got an airline that has got a runway space to accommodate 10 aircrafts to run at a particular time,
Yes.
you must make sure that that runway can and is able and is fit to run these
Through those slots, yeah.
those slots. So that's critical for
Yeah.
us. So get the slots to be able to run these trains to get to the targets. We've managed to now achieve that.
Yes.
Then you require the resources. So we've worked together with TE on making sure that we get all the wagons and locomotives, crews on our side, because that's the most important asset
Yes.
for us, to ensure that these trains that needs to run, they run on time and
Yes.
they've got reliable resources on them. And then importantly, our yards and how they integrate with the ports.
Yes.
Saldanha is one where without an efficient port, you are going to struggle to achieve your numbers.
Yes.
So we need to ensure that the port is efficient and turning around the assets. But for the port to do that, operations in the yards must support the port to make sure that trains are placed at the port on time so that we turn around the trains. And that also talks to our pillar of cycle time that we need to achieve. So through motivating our people, encouraging our people, through having sufficient resources and making sure that we have good interface management, and also the slots.
Yes.
That for us are key
Key.
ingredients to achieve the numbers that we have set out for ourselves
Brilliant.
as a corridor.
That is, I think what I appreciate about how you've explained what and how you get to the success is that it's simple. Everybody understands in the chain what they need to do in order, from the person in the yard to the people that were at the pit, and how do we integrate this, and that simplicity is what makes business even easier. Now I want to look at the expansion and infrastructure around the corridor itself. Where is it now? Where are we looking to go, and why is it important to, one, maintain but also expand the line relative to what the market needs?
Yeah, no, thanks. I think the GCE yesterday had a very powerful presentation on
It was very
possible expansions across the board.
Yes.
And you would have seen that on the iron ore space, there's a lot of reliance on the current processes that we have embarked on, which is volume validation. And I think the volume validation process is almost at its conclusion now. What will then happen after we ascertain the 10, 20-year volume validation from customers? We then need to sit around the table as stakeholders and have a conversation that says, how do we expand iron ore and to where do we expand
Yes.
it? Because that is critical.
And why?
And that's not only a Transnet decision. That decision needs to be an integrated one with industries and other stakeholders, so that, as Portia said, we do not over-invest and then we find ourselves in a market situation. So that balance is quite key. So I think there are processes that are currently being embarked on. Let's allow them to run their course, and then I think some answers will come out in terms of expansion from those processes.
Thank you so much. I think at times we take for granted that these engagements are actually what expand the understanding of the internal runnings of an organization, specifically the ore corridor, to customers, to the general public, to regulators, to everybody. And I appreciate you giving us some of your time. And I think just to close off, I want to, what's your feeling around Mining Indaba 23, and how has it been for yourself as a managing executive of a very important corridor to the business, and how have you interacted with the customers and the stakeholders, and how has that been for you?
No, the Mining Indaba for me has been quite informative. The address by Minister Gwede Mantashe was one that highlighted a lot of successes and shortfalls,
Yes.
From a country perspective, and what government is doing to address those. There was a lot of focus on energy
Yes.
and on logistics, and how we can collaborate and work together.
Yes.
I think in essence for me, what I got from the mining in Daba is, let's not stand alone. Don't try and fix things on your own. How do we come together and focus on, if there are issues surrounding logistics, how do we come together and look at those issues and how we can deal with them? If there are issues around energy, how do we come together and deal with those? For me, that was the takeaway from the mining in Daba. And it was quite, interesting engaging with stakeholders from other continents in terms of how they are running their logistics services. So quite informative conversations we had with the guys as well.
Mr. Theo Johnson, managing executive of the Ore Corridor, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your expertise. And also thank you so much for sharing and letting a lot more people understand your business, the Transnet business, and the business of the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, my chief. Much appreciated.
Cheers.